Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Stupid for the 13th of February 2022. I'm not going to ask how you're all doing because I know how you're doing. You're absolutely miserable, and miserable I am as well because Valentine's Day is coming, which means I won't get almost any super chats because all of you need the money. You need the money because you're going to take your significant other to a romantic walk in the park and you're going to give her chocolates. And you're also going to give her a nice Valentine's gift card. And of course have flower, which is the genital organ of the plant, so she can sniff it. And unfortunately, all of that costs money. Which means you won't have money after Valentine's Day, so I won't get any super chats. You know, I wish there was a way around this. I wish Valentine's Day could be avoided. And fortunately, we know of a way for Valentine's Day not to happen.
There's a reason there are so many VTubers now. I have the government documents that indicate that the government is doing this on purpose. They're going to encourage more VTubers, so that way people don't have time to have children.
I see, so that's the solution. You know what? I'm a big VTuber fan from now on. I am going to shill the living hell out of VTubers so that people can stay at home and not go out and not spend their money frivolously. Instead, spend their money super chatting me. Baha! The jig is up. My plan is revealed. So what can you do if you stay at home? Well, I suppose you can watch the Olympics. I heard they're really good. My parents used to love them. And in China, it doesn't seem they're off to a good start. I don't know what they're going to do with this guy. I hope he's not going to just disappear. But I love the professionalism of it, like almost robotic in nature. It gives the expression, show must go on, a whole new meaning. And you might ask, why do I think he might disappear? Well, because that's what Nancy Pelosi has said to the athletes. She basically told them to shut their mouth while in China. It's like, shut the fuck up, you're there to compete. Alright, no more kneeling, no more politics. China has figured out a way to separate politics from sports. Because there were like an army of academics and journalists that constantly said, like, no, sports are political. You can't separate them. Okay, China did it. They are so advanced into the realm of science that they have separated the sports from the politics. And according to Nancy Pelosi, the Chinese government is ruthless.
I would say to our athletes, you're there to compete. Do not risk incurring the anger of the Chinese government because they are ruthless. I know there is a temptation on the part of some to speak out while they are there. I respect that, but I also worry about what the Chinese government might do to their reputations, to their families.
Zoinks? That's interesting. I thought that silence is violence. Like if you see abuses and you don't call it out, that is you're complacent. Why is Nancy Pelosi sending an army of violent athletes into China? Why is she doing that? Silence is violence, Nancy. But anyway, let's look at the place where they're going to compete. This is the freestyle skiing. Look at this shit. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. Very picturesque. It looks cyberpunky. No, it actually looks like it's Fallout. Look, I'm telling you, if you take Frodo and you make a fellowship and you put Frodo here, he's going to take the ring into the reactor of doom. It is so picturesque. Now, apparently, a lot of people on the internet were mocking it, but the athletes, they say they actually enjoy it. And I'm like, well, no fucking shit. Nancy Pelosi just told them to watch their mouth while in China. Because they're going to come for their family. Yeah, I think they're thrilled about this. I think this is the best ski lodge they have ever seen in their entire life. I think, like, in any competition they went, they haven't seen anything more beautiful. This is perfect. 10 out of 10 Kotaku. They are there to compete. Yeah, speaking of competition, do you guys remember what the internet used to call the communist defector, Zhu Yi? A couple of years ago, there was this American Chinese lady who was born in the US, and she renounced her citizenship in order to compete on behalf of China. And this was actually a big deal, you know, like people on the internet who follow sports, they were making fun of her. I don't know why though, because she was underage, and it's not like she was part of the military to defect or anything. It's not like she's a rocket scientist. But whatever, you know, like the Americans were making fun of her, but nothing that the Americans could say can even compete to how harsh the Chinese have treated her on social media. So she goes there and she falls not once but twice. And despite the fact that she came on third place, that is not acceptable in China. You're either number one or you're gone. Because look at what people are saying on the Chinese WeChat. She has no strength, and it seems like she has no passion and enthusiasm on the stage, one social media user wrote. I like to say, like, this is the more mild version of criticism. And it's also interesting that when you're in China, even the BBC fears you. Because if someone would have said this in the United States, it would be, oh, misogynist wrote, troll wrote, a bigot wrote, a far-right troll wrote. But in China, it's social media user. Do you see how much the BBC respects the people of the Republic of China? They will never call them misogynists or sexist or anything like that. No, what you get if you're in China, you get respecto. You get respecto because otherwise they come for you and they come for your family and they ruin your reputation. So you get respecto. I hate that she is crying. Can crying solve anything? I mean, I don't know. I saw Obama pissing his eyes on several occasions. I mean, Obama was Waterworks incarnated, and that is the president of the United States. Every time there was a tragedy, he was like, like, okay, can you act professional, por favor? No, he can't. He even had a handkerchief ready. Like, who the fuck had a handkerchief in 2016? When you can buy those, like, paper napkins. So bourgeois. Do you think it's like a reagent for a spell? Like the tears of the president, and you can mix them up with something else and you can conjure a spell? And that's why, you know, like the secret agents, they told him to have the handkerchief, and when he's crying, he needs to use it to wipe his eyes. But yeah, so it's not really surprising that a girl who is born in the United States, she looks at her president and is like, okay, this is what a leader does. Cries in front of the camera. So maybe this is why she cried. And yeah, the Chinese, they don't like that. I never seen Chairman Z crying, ever. I mean, the guy is very stoic. He's filled with toxic masculinity, so he never cries. So maybe that's why, you know, like the cultural differences. Probably that. But, you know, I'm not even blaming her for falling down. Did you see the food that athletes have to eat? Like, all these athletes, they're not protesting the human rights abuses. They're keeping their mouth shut. They're not complaining about the ski lodge. They're keeping their mouth shut. But when it's about giving them prison food, oh, now they're pissing their eyes. Now they're like, wah. And at first I thought that maybe the Chinese are being a little bit more smart here and they're only feeding the other athletes prison food, but like the Chinese athletes get real food so that they can compete better. But no, like after seeing that girl fall on the ice not once but twice, I think that throws that hypothesis out of the window. So apparently this is what they get. They get the same food every single day. I mean, what the fuck is even this? I mean, you thought I was exaggerating when I said prison food. Look, you can start a vegan with this. What is this? Can anyone tell me what this is? Because, okay, like, I understand what the other things are. I mean, this looks like something of a lamb. And you took the entire lamb and you left it in the oven for more than 5 hours. And this is the charred remains. I'm pretty sure it's not pork, right? Because you can't have haram. I'm also pretty sure it's not cow, because, well, the Hindis don't like it. So it's probably lamb, isn't it? So that you can serve the same shit to everyone. Like, if you have variety, it costs more money. So we're making absolutely sure that this Olympics is as cheap as possible. Fine, I get these are potatoes in grease. Like after trying to drown the potatoes in grease and they're trying to gasp for air and you push them back down. Like, okay, this is how they look like. I don't even want to know. Alright, I assume I think this is what it is, but like, I don't want to ask. But what is this? Like, I have absolutely no clue. I mean, the coloration of this, like, what is it? Like a chicken that you held in the basement and it never saw sunlight in its entire life, and it's like peach white because it's anemic? What on earth is this? What type of meat is it? Is it like from fish? I don't think it's fish. Why are there two types of meat? Another question. So you get like this, and then you also have this. Like, what is it? A Chinese delicacy? A sparrow? Is that where the sparrows went? Like, they found some from the Great Leap Forward and they put it on the tray of the athletes to get rid of the evidence? What are we having here? Now, take into account that for an athlete who has to perform at peak human conditioning, this might not be enough. They might starve. They might fall down on the ice or something. So, yeah, I mean, the Chinese Olympics is off to a great start. I have to say, I wasn't interested in watching it at first, but given the fact that this is what happens after 4 days of it, now I'm paying attention. Because now it's interesting. It's a lot more funny than most of the stuff that I get to see online. So, what next? What's going to happen next? Are they going to go through with what Nancy Pelosi did and threaten an athlete's family? That would also be very interesting drama, wouldn't it? On the bright side, I don't need to watch the Olympics to know who's going to win the gold medal at the Olympics. At the mental gymnastic Olympics, to be more precise. Like, for example, if you want people to stop eating meat, how do you convince them to do it? Well, you're going to call them misogynist, sexist, racist, white supremacists, and neo-Nazis. And how can you do all of these things in less than 1 minute and 30 seconds? Like, only a person that is a grandmaster of the mental gymnastics Olympics, only an academic can manage to do these things. Let's listen.
I believe we should move beyond all meat. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism. These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. Popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes, who all just want to have fun. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat, and eating animals is its protection racket. White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy, and the baiting of liberal men as so-called soy boys are all part of the neo-Nazi messaging. To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary. Meat eaters, like anti-abortionists, have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equals. I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
What the fuck?
Hey, don't look at me, Pipa. I don't know. I just finished law school and med school, but those things are way above my pay grade. I didn't understand the single words they were saying. Except that it's like racismus, misogynismus, sexismus. Like every time I put a hamburger in my mouth, I cause so much damage. I feel like a rebel. I feel like a god of destruction. When I have an argument with my wife, I'm just going to eat a hamburger angrily in front of her. It's like, take that, woman. And she's going to be like, no, the waves of misogyny that are coming from that burger. Oh, it hurts so much. Stop it. I will never stop. I'm a real man. I'm eating the meat. I mean, the academics told me so. So that really made me feel empowered. That really made me feel on top of the world. So every time I go to McDonald's and I buy a burger, I will look upon all the mortals that are at my feet and I put you there. I did the colonialism. You are underneath me. I am above because I have the burger. Anyway, in other news, we got Canada and 20 other countries who are very concerned about the freedom of speech in Hong Kong. I love it, you know, it's like whenever it's in the West, it's, oh, we love freedom of speech, freedom of speech, but when it's in Hong Kong, they actually do care. So, if I actually want to get free speech, I need to go to Hong Kong so that the Western governments can then advocate on my behalf. Because if I sit in the West, the Western governments don't advocate on my behalf. By the way, very fun fact. Look here. Look what are the countries that actually signed this. The governments of Australia. Really? The governments of Australia. Hey, Australia, is this you? Making sure people don't have a potty mouth? Imagine going to prison in Australia and you're asking the other guy, like, what have you been here for? Oh, I don't know, I murdered someone. What about you? I have a potty mouth. I spoke dirty words. I was a dirty, dirty person. Apparently, swearing in public could land you huge fines or even put you in jail. Oh my god, Australia, very progressive! Yay! See, this is why I need to vote left-wing governments, because they're powerful. They dominate the people. They bend people to their will. What other government does this, huh? What other government does it? Why do you want a politician except to bend you like a twig to its will? The power that they must feel. Australia risk coping fines up to $21,000 or a 6-month prison term if they're caught swearing in public. While completely illegal in your own home, dropping a casual F-bomb at the park or at a local cafe is now going to be a crime scene. Look, this is a conspiracy, I'm telling you. The moment I start shilling for a VTuber, like literally the moment that I start doing this, Australia does this. How much do you think Pippa would get as a fine if she went to Australia?
When Overwatch was fresh and exciting and bullying children was socially acceptable, just so we're clear, drawing nudes of you isn't illegal because you're not a loli. Yeah, I'm not a loli. And they can just all fucking kill themselves. I'm not toxic. I don't care if he's named after an alleged sexual predator. Liking waffles makes you racist. Can't hand me your name sucks. Get fucked. Holy shit. Fucking Miller. Fucking idiot. Fuck! Piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck! I am so fucking dumb. Holy shit. We're going to China. And you know what, motherfucker? Ah, you whore! Oh, now they fucking join.
I think that's life in prison, chat. I don't think she's gonna get out. Think about it. It's actually swearing in public, right? Because they keep saying the internet is the public space. So from the comfort of her own bedroom, she's actually a mastermind criminal. She's a menace to the Australian society. The Prime Minister is going to apprehend her if she ever goes there. She's going to be like Novak Djokovic version 2.0. But with less fans. And American citizenship. Which one matters most? Less fans or the fact that she has American citizenship? I mean, is she American? I don't know.
How is the crime rate of the neighborhood? What do you mean, how's the crime rate of the neighborhood? Just don't be a pussy. Just don't be a pussy. You ever heard of a fucking gun, chat?
Okay, yep, definitely American. 100% American. Australia, what's going on? Why are you bullying bunnies now? My god, imagine living in a country where you can't curse. Because you get like a 500-pound fine. Jesus Christ. Can people blackmail you? It's like, they record you in public, and they're like, you either do this for me, or I will send this recording to the cops where you angrily cursed after hitting your foot in a rock. Australia, keeping people safe since 2020. Anyway, speaking of big fines, look at this, you bigot. 740,000 pound painting is ruined after a bored security guard draws eyes on the faceless figures. So this is the painting. Like, seriously though, like when you look at this, would you say it's worth 740,000 pounds? Just by glimpsing at it, would you value it? Like, if you go into my house and you see that I have this on my wall, would you actually say, wow, V, oh my god, where did you get this? Would you even stop to look? Like, would you feel catharsis? Catharsis. Do you know what catharsis is, you bigot? Catharsis is the purification and purgation of emotions through dramatic art. Or it may be any extreme emotional state that results in the renewal and restoration. So considering that this is appraised at £740,000, does it make you feel that catharsis? Do you get your money worth by looking at this painting? Do you get like an extreme emotion when you're looking at it? I don't know, but apparently the people the next day, they did get an extreme emotion. They did get the catharsis when they came in and they saw that the painting was defaced. They call it defaced. How can you call it defaced? It actually gave it a face. It gave it more of a face. It got eyes now. How dumb must you be though? Like you're going into a museum and you start doodling eyes. Apparently the security guard was fired. But why though? Like, think about it. At least he learned his lesson. I guarantee to you that security guard is never going to do the same thing ever again. But if you get a new security guard, you don't know. You're playing Russian roulette. In Russia, by the way. Although, let's be honest, it wasn't that bad. The restoration apparently cost around $3,000. I think it goes out of the paycheck of the security guard, which they fired. Again, you shouldn't have fired him. You can keep him employed and you can get like 30% out of his wage to cover the expenses. So you can keep him like a little slave to think about what he done. Yeah, so I guess it wasn't that bad, all in all. Like it was fixed. But again, like $740,000. Really? I mean, I guess, sure, fine, why not? You know, capitalismus and everything. But come on. At least this is art. Money laundering can be an art form worth of $835,000. So this nun, which took a vow of poverty, was caught stealing £835,000 from a Catholic primary school. I didn't even know Catholic schools are that rich. You know, like, I didn't think you can steal more than what someone has. Like, for example, if a thief came into my house, I would wake up from my bed and I would start helping him out to look for the money. Maybe he can find some money that I have and I don't know about it. But it's probably the same with that Catholic school. She probably stole more money than they had, because I don't know, like maybe she made a bank account in the name of the Catholic school. How do you steal so much from one school? It's a school, it's not a bank. But anyway, so the reason I'm saying that it's an art form is because she managed to get away with it for 10 years. How do you get away with stealing so much money for 10 years? What do you even do with the money? Because you can't buy stuff, right? Like, you took a vow of poverty, so if you all of a sudden have like this mansion springing up from the ether, people are going to ask questions. If you come out with a Porsche like a Sun Piker, people are going to start asking questions. So how exactly did she spend the money? What did she do? Did she send super chats to YouTubers? Like, what? How? How did she manage to not get caught for 10 years? But eventually she did get caught, and apparently she says that her actions were in violations of her vows, my commandments, the law, above all, the sacred trust that so many people placed in her. Like, she knew. She was calculated. She was aware. Now, if you make a film about this, that would definitely be art. I would pay money to see it. How on earth can you money launder $835,000? Like, what do you do with it? When you have a vow of poverty, like, this is the most impressive thing. Like, she couldn't even buy a Gucci purse. Imagine if she had a Gucci purse, or what was that? Armani, an Armani purse. She couldn't have bought that either. But enough about that. Enough talking about art. Let's talk about politics. As you know, in Canada, truckers have gathered, and the Prime Minister was accused that he was afraid and refused to talk with the truckers. And I have to say that is no longer the case. Justin Trudeau has finally done an interview where he sits down with one of the leaders of the truck protest. So let's listen to the beautiful interview.
Thank you. I agree with the impatience that people feel. I feel it too. We need to be moving as fast as possible. I accept that some people's perspective on that is that we need to respect people's freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom of religion.
Now, unfortunately, that interview was removed from Facebook for violating its community guidelines. You see, that interview contained a lot of honking, and Facebook doesn't allow it. So, for those of you who watch from Facebook, you probably won't see this video either, because it had honking in it, and Facebook doesn't appreciate that. They're not a bunch of clowns, they're serious people. Finally, while we're on the topic of censorship, and as we mentioned before, a lot of governments are worried about the free speech in Hong Kong. You understand that governments have so much energy to only worry about one thing. And while they're all worried about the censorship in Hong Kong, they can't be worried about the censorship in the United States, because if you look at dhs.gov, a governmental website, this is what a summary of terrorist threats to the US have been considered. And you can see that the United States remains in a heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including an online environment, filled with false or misleading narratives. People talking to each other is dangerous. The government needs to know what people talk and communicate with each other. So 100 years ago, like, the government would have sent people in bars, in pubs, where they gather, where they meet. But now that's a lot easier because it's online. You know, like, back in the day when the government used to read people's emails, listen to people's phones, right? Like, they would do all these things to keep you safe. But now they don't need to. Now they can just monitor online for dis, and malinformation. When you're speaking, you're causing harm. Be careful of what you say, because Uncle Sam is listening. Loose lips sink ships. Introduced and amplified by foreign and domestic threat actors, these threat actors seek to exacerbate societal friction, to sow discord and undermine public trust in the government. Do you distrust the government, citizen? I would never. I have never trusted the government more in my entire life than when I am seeing this. Like, if I don't trust it, I become a terrorist. So trust the US government. With every ounce of your body, you need to put your trust into it. In fact, I would recommend that every day you have a creed. I trust the US government. I trust Uncle Sam. I trust the central bank. I trust the Supreme Court of the United States. I trust. You need to trust, 100% trust. This is what I'm spreading on this channel. Trust to the US government. So, yep, that's about all. And, oh, actually, no. I got one more message for you from Pipkin Pippa. Okay, listen to this.
Being that I'm a VTuber under a company and a family-friendly entertainer, it'd be inappropriate for me to give my opinion on abortion laws. But what I can safely say is that it's a shame your parents didn't make the right decision.
So for those of you wondering, why have I been shilling this particular VTuber? There's two reasons. Number one, I legitimately think she's funny. Like, unironically. Like, if I find her funny, I think you guys will find her funny. And as you can see, she's not getting that many views. Like, she's getting 100, 200 people watching her live. And she's like 2,000, 1.2 thousand. These are shameful numbers. And I think it's a crime against streaming, because there are so many other streamers, less talented, which get a lot more. So I looked at this, and I was like, no, this is not okay. This is a crime against nature. Like, something needs to be done. Which brings me to the second reason of my shilling, is that I'm really curious to see how much of an influencer I am. Like, how much I can manipulate, much can I influence people to check something out, to check out the product. So if I manage to get like 100 people to subscribe to her, then I would be impressed. I'll be like, oh my god, like, really? I have that power, I have that influence, I can shill a product to people. So there you go, cards on the table. I'm not lying to you. I'm actually saying why I'm doing this. So do check out her channel. You will not regret it. Like, trust me, I haven't laughed so much in ages, because all of YouTube is sanitized, but here you find this little island this tiny alternative reality where you can have a streamer that actually says what's on their mind, and it's hilarious. So there's a link into the description. You can go to her channel, check it out, and then tell me if you liked it. I'm really curious, because so far every time I recommended something to people, whether it was a movie, a video game, or anything like that, people came up to me and said, oh my god, this is great. So now I want to help someone small. I want to help someone tiny. Let's see if I can do it. Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys on the live stream. Take care.
Nice. What do we name the character? This is the part that I really wanted your guys' input on. And don't say Jack Murphy. Don't say Jack Murphy, motherfuckers. You know, they might they might come up to me and they might be like, hey, can you teach me how to fuck my wife? Jack, oh my god. They'll say, hey, I'll pay you $1,900. Please fuck my wife. And I'll say, no, I can't do that. I am a say-so streamer. Christina Chandler. I'm gonna get fucking banned from this group and it's gonna be your guys' fault. Okay.